So it's going to be routed here, and it's not going to be in the way. Well, over here it will be. Okay, I think it needs a wire tie. I think it needs to be routed further to 4026. Okay, let me try it.
Через минуту-полторы у нас выход из тени.
In about a minute or a minute and a half, the eclipse is going to be over. Copy. Talking about cable and wire ties. I think that will place it a little bit to the side. Can it be bent in this direction? Why not? I'm just asking. I don't think it will be in the way. Well, don't tighten it too much so it doesn't have. Work. Go ahead.
А можешь, пожалуйста, на свою камеру поснимать, как...
Can you use your camera to take the video how the cable routing path is looking right now, pointing to the FGB using the glitter camera. Okay. So starting from where Peter is located and to the FGB, so basically from where you are located, turn to the left and how it's going to the FGB, just that particular section. You don't even have to translate too far. Okay. Let me reattach my short tether. Handrail 4025. So the slack is about slightly over 1 meter. Copy.
Я сейчас могу с диском подойти к Олегу.
I can translate to Oleg with this disc and hand it to him.
Хорошо, давай.
I can give you the disc.
Окей, что передать? Диск. Так, я эту съемку...
This disc, I haven't completed the imagery.
Петр,
Peter, go ahead.
а подвязать его все-таки
Can you
где-то рядом
tie it
15 платы, может быть, скорость
next to
2.0.
maybe 4300 next to panel 17? Well, I can try. I'm not sure how much time it's going to take to figure out these cables.
А Олег тебе сможет в этом помочь?
Can Oleg be of help
На работе с 17 платов.
to work on panel 17? Most likely, if we get there together, we will just be in each other's way, more than helping each other. It is large.
Конечно, ставить его так на кабеле болтаться.
Well, we can actually leave it on the cable, just floating around. It's not going to go anywhere from this cable.
Но только выбрать слабину.
We just need to tighten up the slack.
Олег, спасибо. Я думаю, достаточно нам.
Oleg, if it's on the cable, if we leave the disc on the cable, we can move it in the direction of the handrail toward the panel. There is nowhere to tie it down to, but it's not going to be in the way of any activity.
Давай снимем крышку.
I think let's remove the cover. We're not going to be guessing anymore. We'll remove the cover and then we'll make a decision what to do with it. Okay.
Так, убрал камеру.
I put the camera away.
Принято.
Copy.
Наконец, хорошая связь.
So what did you decide?
Крышку снимаем.
We're going to take the cover. You can remove it, and what we're going to do with it, we're going to think about it for now. And how do we secure it on the wire tie?
Да, вот за этот проволочный фиксатор.
Yes, secure it to the wire tie on your adjustable tether or on your red.
Хорошо.
Okay, sounds good.
Купол открыто. Так, готов adjustable. Так, пытаюсь.
I'm ready with the adjustable tether.
Немножко распущу еще.
Okay, let me loosen it up a little. I'm not able to translate over there.
Так, есть. Отлично. Так.
Okay, I got it. Great.
Вытаскиваю.
I'm going to pull out the cable from this disc. This shape is sort of tricky. Okay, I got it.
Так, стоп. Не туда я его посунул. Нет, туда.
Hold on, I didn't route it the right way. Yes, I think it's the right way.
Туда.
Okay, I thought that's where the long part is routed.
Все, сняли диск.
Okay, we removed the disk.
Принято.
Okay, copy.
Какая чудная вещь.
Such an amazing item.
Так и возникает легенда о летающих тарелках.
And that's where the flying saucer legends come from.
Так, Петр,
Let me catch my breath. Peter,
так, безостановочно все.
Peter, you're working the entire eclipse. Do you need to catch your breath? Well, yes, I need a minute or two to catch my breath. Okay, that's fine. Go ahead and catch your breath. I am going to tie up this bundle neatly.
Лев, у меня к тебе просьба. Вот ты
I have a request for you.
можешь оценить, как пойдет...
From your location, can you assess how the SMLM2 bundle is going to go?
Там как трасса перехода и...
How the translation path is going to look like the path for cable routing?
Так, сейчас вкратце мне напомню, откуда она будет идти.
Well, can you remind me briefly where we're going to have to translate from the gap center?
Поручни перехода по кольцевым поручням.
Going along the circular handrail from the small diameter cone.
Доходит до мишени.
And then you're going to get to the target and then to get to the antenna that's located along plane 1.
Вижу.
Okay, I see it.
Мне кажется, можно будет перейти на...
I think we'll be able to translate to the handrail that Peter installed.
Кольцевого поручня.
So from the circular handrail to the handrail that Peter installed.
Да, здесь не такое большое расстояние.
I think the distance is not going to be that big a deal.
За мишенью кольцевой.
Also, behind that target, there will be a circular handrail, and then another circular handrail, and then another one closer.
Вот поручень установлен Петром.
The handrail that was installed by Peter.
Принято. То есть мы за мишень заходим.
So we're going to get behind the
Лучший
target. In that case, you're better off translating head first
Ну да, я думаю, выйдет такой.
and get to handrail 4005. I think this particular path is going to be doable.
Крылья на СТУ
So routing the cable,
по кольцевым.
if you're on the Estrella, on the STU, would that work, or do you need to translate along the handrails?
Нет, лучше, конечно.
No, I think it would be preferred if the translation is along the circular handrails.
Крылой там.
Okay, copy. Then we're not going to waste any time working with the Estrella during the translation path, and then you would be translating along the circular handrails. Well, are you working or are you catching your breath? I think he is quietly. So you gave him a go to catch his breath, and he's working quietly. I am looking how we can route the cables and make the connectors. I think the connector can go under the MLI flap. I am hoping we won't need to cut a bunch of slide wires to make the cable. I am ready to make connectors, connector backup forward to the connector on the cable. Okay, copy. Start. You can start.
У нас контактное поле.
Okay, copy. The contact field is looking good. Okay, let me before the inspection. So everything looks good. There's no FODs. Everything is fine near the socket. There's no FOD. The key is here near the sphere. Copy. Then you can make the connectors there. There are 4 Ethernet cables. I confirm.
And we're a little over 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 45 seconds into today's spacewalk. We're right now looking through the helmet cam of Pyotr Dubrov, EV2, for today's operations. He's making that connection now of that now routed Ethernet cable to the patch panel there on the multi-purpose laboratory module. Just prior to this, they were able to get that cable reel cover off, and the teams here on the ground still talking the ultimate fate of that cable reel cover, if it will be jettisoned or temporarily stowed on board the station itself. The original plan called for the entire cable reel to be jettisoned following the successful routing and connection, so the teams with that already in mind, just talking through what the next steps are going to be. Once this Ethernet cable is completed, though, they'll be able to move on and recover the cable carrier with 2 additional bundles that contain cables for connecting the TV systems between the Russian service module and the MLM, and also a cable between 2 antenna feeder units for the Core's automated rendezvous system between MLM and the Russian service module. So again, we're 2 hours and just about 5 minutes into today's spacewalk, waiting to get this final Ethernet cable connected, and then waiting on the fate of the cover from the Ethernet cable reel, and then we'll get an update on just where on the timeline the crew is for the day.
1741 wasted on glide wire, and then without closing the MLI flap, you will go to UKP. So then SMMLM1, SMMLM2 is where we're going to work now. Olga's going to be nearby. And once you're in place, we're going to route everything when we get there. I routed the cable. I'm going to place it on the slide wire 14.1. You can position yourself at STU, at Strela, copy. But if you want to, you can forgo the Strela and translate to UKP. Should I be translating along the Strela? Yes, you can translate along the Strela, or you can go along the circular handrails and the Pechalo, whichever way you find more convenient. Okay, copy. I managed to prepare one of those 3 connectors that are still left. Copy, Pyotr. That's good.
Олег,
Oleg,
нельзя трогать the...
please make sure you do not touch the MMZ with your gloves. So please, do not touch the MLI.
Так, ну я тогда вдвигаюсь.
Right. I am going to be moving in the direction of UKP. Yes, that is right.
Вместе с Олегом
And you and Oleg can will probably be going to STO together.
So right now, a little over 2 hours and 11 minutes into today's spacewalk. Russian cosmonauts Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov continuing to move through. Right now, about 20 to 30 minutes down on the timeline, as right now Pyotr Dubrov is working to finish connecting that Ethernet cable, linking up the multi-purpose laboratory module on the Russian segment with the U.S. segment, giving a redundant data path for upcoming payloads and also control of the European robotic arm. Meanwhile, looking through the helmet camera of Oleg Novitsky here as he's making his way back up to the Poisk module. Pretty soon he's going to be working to retrieve the next two cable bundles from a cable carrier stowed right outside, and those will be the next series of cables that they'll be routing, and they'll include cables linking the TV systems between the service module and the MLM systems, another Ethernet patch cable just to complete this linking of the MLM to the US OS segment on the space station, and also a cable connecting the core's antenna feeder units on both the Russian service module and the multi-purpose laboratory module. So we can see he's just about up there. He's getting a look now at Pyotr Dubrov, who's still at that patch panel on MLM. So just working with all the routing done to get that cable connected.
Артем, сейчас на камеру видно?
Artyom,
Кабель извернуть.
do you see on the video on the camera how we laid out the Ethernet cables? Yes, because it did get in the
В районе как раз
shot.
вот этой 15:00.
Right. It's
Не хватает разглядеть.
1500. Unfortunately, near the struts 1500, the
На подкове.
resolution is not as sufficient enough to see everything well. Well, it's right underneath the power cable, and there is about 10 meters between them. Copy. Thank you.
Конечно, по-хорошему можно было завести еще его вот этот
And
новый держатель.
we should probably have been moved and brought over a
Витковый держатель
holder for cable bundles. Well,
у нас для использования лебедей.
we have a better plan for it. It's not to secure cables, unfortunately. All right, well, so be it.
Проводки на ФГБ проложены.
These are on FGB on plane 3, so that
На гермоадаптер, допустим, нет.
you can move to not using the Strela, but using the reel.
Да, я понял. Спасибо.
Copy, understood. Thank you.
Так, застраховался. Ну,
All right, I am on STO.
Принято.
Copy.
так, начинаем тогда движение.
And I'm starting my movement.
Понял.
Stand by one. Oleg. Pyotr,
Внимание, сейчас временно
just wanted to ask if you wanted to
и при случае,
secure
когда Олег пойдет фиксировать кабели,
everything there, and while Oleg
чтобы ты
is moving with the cable so that you don't have to drag the cables all the way.
Можно.
Well,
Ну, на СТУ попробуем.
maybe we can actually secure it to STU.
давай тогда так и
Let's do that.
на СТУ,
Let's secure it to STU,
Олег подберет.
and then Oleg is going to grab the crew lock bag. All right, let me move over to STU.
Иду на
The reel is right next to us, and I will use the leer.
Тема. Артем.
What do you think, Artyom?
В принципе, вы вместе сейчас
Well, you can use STU together.
Сюда идти-то, может быть, освободена, но ближе подойдет просто.
Well, maybe Pyotr doesn't need to go all the way. I will hand the cable bundle over to him, and that will be it.
Мне кажется, быстрее будет просто
It will.
крыло бэка. Сейчас.
Maybe I should just grab the crew lock bag, and I'll get there sooner.
Я думаю, что буду с крылом бэком.
I think I will keep the crew lock bag all that's next to me all the time. Sounds good.
Так.
Okay.
Так, сейчас так перестрахуюсь. Да.
So I am going to secure to the translation handrail.
принято.
Copy.
Там вот с УКП надо лееры
And you need to remove
раскрутки.
one of the
Да, ага, вижу.
layers from UKP. I see that.
Так, это Крышка на мне.
So the cover is secured. I have secured the cover.
Эта крышка у меня сзади отлетела тогда.
Hold on. Is it the cover that's behind me?
Она слева от тебя.
It's to the left of you, and it should be.
Да, нормально. Adjustable спереди проходит и уходит.
As it is, so the adjustable is going to the cap, to the cover.
Так, застраховался.
All right, I am secure to the translation handrail
А 33-м и 32-м.
and 33 and 32. Copy.
Так, Артем, ты говоришь крышку?
Artyom, where did you advise me to put the cover?
Фиксируй. Да, там
Could you secure it
или
somewhere there?
свободный файл, который вот...
I use an empty red,
Но после того, как мы расфиксируем,
and once we have the cable
пойдешь сразу на 9-ю,
free, you can go to
эта крышка может немного...
plate 9 and platform 9, and that
Хорошо.
cover could be a little bit in the way. All right, let me secure it to the red,
Возле люка вот просто файл.
right next to the hatch.
И там же крышку. Можно на мобильное звено, если удобнее.
To the mobile ring, if it's more convenient. Copy.
And we are coming up now just 2 hours, 20 minutes into today's spacewalk. Both Pyotr Dubrov and Oleg Novitsky have now made their way back towards the initial stowage point just outside of the Poisk module, from which they exited when they began the spacewalk just 2 hours, 20 minutes ago. They've completed routing that Ethernet cable down to the patch panel of the MLM, and so it'll stay there as they move their way back up to secure and release 2 additional cable bundles. These ones containing cables that are going to be linking up the TV systems between the MLM and the Russian service module, along with another Ethernet patch cable to complete all of the connections to, again, give that redundant Ethernet path from the US segment over to the MLM for use on any future payloads, and also commanding the European robotic arm. There's also going to be a cable that's going to link antenna feeder units between the Kors-P, the Kors automated rendezvous systems on the Russian Zvezda service module, and on MLM. So their first step is to just release those cable bundles from their temporary spot on the cable carrier. Oleg Novitsky is going to stay up near the Poisk module, and he's actually going to move over closer to the Russian service module, where he's going to check the connection points while Pyotr Dubrov takes the cable bundle and moves it down to the multipurpose laboratory module. Once he gets all the way down, they're gonna pause and make sure they have enough slack on either end to make the necessary connections between the two, and they'll be securing these cables in place on several handrails with wire ties along the way, just to keep things as neat and tidy as possible. But it is pretty difficult, as you can see. A lot of cables, a lot of components on the outside of the space station. But we are about 20 minutes or so down on the timeline. The crew did run into an issue, which you can see a metal disc right there. That's the cover from the Ethernet cable reel that they were originally supposed to jettison shortly after the final routing task. They're going to secure that cable cover here for the time being, and then at the end of the spacewalk, when they have a couple of other multi-layer insulation covers that they were going to jettison, the plan now is to also jettison that cover with those.
To translate to the circumference handrails. Well, the Strela is very close, and let me think what works best.
Но потом тебе в районе мишени в любом случае надо уходить с СТУ.
And then from anyway, next to the target, you will need to move to STU anyway. So move behind the target and then get to 4005. It should be the handrail that's named after you. Yep, and it's convenient. It's not too far to go. So, adjustable. Oh, no, that's retractable tether should be probably connected to the crew lock bag. Was it in any way useful on platform 17? I should say so. After I installed it, it would get back, and I could use it. It was very, very convenient. I could use it, and it would come back every time pretty fast. All right, let me secure myself here and pull it up. Okay. I will, if I get myself secured here, then I wouldn't be able to switch to the cable. So I will go to STU, and I think it's going to be more difficult to secure myself there. So that's why I'm thinking that I should go there from the attachment fixture. And I need to pull up the cable somehow. And I need to find the point to which we could secure it to. We use the same rings as the ones that you secured the cables to. Will you be able to? And you can actually use the wire ties too that you used on SMMLM1. Oleg, could you help me out to secure the adjustable reds to the aramid rings? And look for that wire tie. Do you want the cable connected? Yes, the cable. So there is a cable holder, and try and connect it there. Okay, I see. Will it do? Yes. And I have the cable secured here. I have one secured. And sterilize a little bit in the way here. I have the second one secured. Great. And the cable is secured. And here is the cable bay. Do you want me to let go of it? Yes, slowly. This is probably more convenient. Okay, I got to those circumference handrails, and I need to secure myself to them. Copy.
Там, да, ты уже вот делаешь арамидные ленты.
And there should be aramid tape there. Not to get entangled in it, but it's not really too much in the way. Could you check the cable whether there are any bends or kinks there? No, it looks as if it were new. Looks really well, really good. Copy. So I am now secured to that circumference handrails, and I'm starting to move. Copy. Okay. The target, passing the target. That's not the best.
A little over 2 hours, 30 minutes into today's spacewalk, Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov continuing to work. They completed a couple of their first major tasks of the day, with Dubrov able to install 3 new handrails along the Russian multi-purpose laboratory module. The pair of them worked together to finish routing and mating an Ethernet cable that had previously been almost routed to the MLM, getting it kind of the last mile and then getting it connected. They did run into a couple of issues with the cable reel itself. So Oleg Novitsky was able to take the cover off the reel and take the cable out and continue routing it. That cable reel was originally set to be jettisoned shortly after the completion of the cable routing, but for now the cable reel itself is still installed in place in a handrail, and then the cover right now is planned to be jettisoned at the end of today's spacewalk, along with some other previously planned multi-layer insulation covers that were set to be jettisoned by the cosmonauts. So we'll see that flat disk make a reappearance later on in today's spacewalk. For now, though, they're moving to release and begin routing 2 additional cable bundles that have been sewed outside of the POISC module since the beginning of today's spacewalk. These will include another Ethernet patch cable that's going to link up interfaces between the Russian service module and the MLM. Also 2 cables connecting the 2 modules' TV systems, and then 1 linking up the cores systems on both of these modules that cores use for the automated rendezvous and docking of visiting Russian spacecraft, including the Progress and the crewed Soyuz vehicles. So the crew is still about 20 to 30 minutes, give or take, down on their timeline. Again, today's spacewalk originally planned to last just shy of 6 hours and 30 minutes. We are 2 hours and 30 minutes into today's spacewalk so far. So they're going to continue to work now. They're going to be going in opposite directions at first, with Oleg Novitsky working his way towards a patch panel on the Russian service module, where he's going to wait until Pyotr Dubrov has finished routing the cable down to the MLM. They'll double check the amount of slack on either side, make sure that they can make all of the necessary connections before they both then meet up down at the patch panel, the connection panel on the MLM, to begin installing the cables.
Right. Well, Sergey, one of our Sergeys, the one that's Kudi, since he really isn't the cave diving, he would be really excited to work here. That is true. Nope, and nope. It's really inconvenient that I have to translate 3 times, to there and back and to there again.
У нас после этого будет переход на этот выход.
There will be like the last translation afterwards.
Так что чуть-чуть потерпеть.
So just bear with us a little bit longer.
Представляешь, Петр, если будет...
Further, can you imagine if you had failed to install that handrail? I have no idea how to move the reel here unless I jump. Or maybe you can move it over the handrails. And it's caught here somewhere. I see the crew lock bag, but I don't see the cable. The cable is right behind you now. Is it catching the antenna? No, it's not. But it's caught under BRTI a little bit. So it's down there. Okay, let me try a different route. Okay, I have translated to there. Got it. I got the crew lock bag. Everything's in place. And now the cable is going over the target. I see it. Right, and got it. The cable on 4003 handrail. Copy. And Piotr, let us think about it. The cable.
Если мы поставим, это удобно будет? Или можно на 4004 или еще на какой-то соседний поручень ставить его? Вот по трассе, как он пролегает.
Мне кажется, если ставить, то лучше на 403, причем как можно ближе вот к грибку, к краю.
Принято.
I think the 403 and 404. Could you check if that way you can secure the cable clamp there? I think 403, as close to the handrail, would be the best. Let me try. Do you want to go even a little bit more to the right? Yes, because I wanted to have it on the handrail, so as far to the right as possible until I tell you to stop.
Stop.
And stop. Got it? Somewhat like this. If we connect like this, then we're going to have about at least half a meter of slack in case we need it. Copy. Then, Oleg, let's try and move the first cable clamp from and try and move it from platform 9. Can you do that? I don't see anything yet. I wanted to move this cable somewhere next to the wire ties. Maybe I could use something. Well, you can use the closest cuff, so to say, and then you can use the remains of the cable bay. And I'm installing cable clamp on 4003. I'm using a hook there too because it will make it completely secure then. Great. So you didn't even need to use reds, right? Correct. I'm just taking it off the cable and installing it to the handrail. That's good. Oleg, and those stripy handrails, you can still hold on to them, but be careful.
This looks good here. It's not in the way for me. It just helps to add extra security. Okay, copy. Okay, so I need to remove the cable from the clamp. Okay, do you want to take a break? I'm not very tired. Just within the acceptable level. Okay. It's just that you've done some serious translation and you installed the clamp. Okay. I am trying to distribute the energy. Doesn't always work. Peter, if it is difficult, then don't worry about it. Just see how you are feeling, and then you can continue if you want. For the cable clamp, once you drag through and route the cable, do not clamp it. Because when Oleg will be installing the cables through the clamps, there should be additional slack. So you'll need to address that as well. Okay, copy. Okay, I have the cable clamp. Now I need to pull the cable from the reel and then translate down, yes, to plate 9. And then will be working with the with connector 9-11. Got it.
Two hours 43 minutes into today's spacewalk. So right now, both Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov working to extend this cable bundle. Right now, Oleg Novitsky is moving towards a panel on the Russian service module, panel number 9, where he's going to check and make sure that he has enough slack to connect the ends of his cables. Meanwhile, Pyotr Dubrov making his way down to the multi-purpose laboratory module, the MLM. We just watched him install a cable clamp on one of the handrails, 4003, securing the cable bundle in place. And so then after they're able to check the slack on either side, they will then move to start connecting this cable on the service module side and on the MLM side.
Okay, got it. Please remind me. First, we made... Wait, no. We made 17-1, 17-2. Those are the high-frequency one. Now from the MLM kit, the sequence of installation is not that important, but we need 356, and then 31 needs to be stowed. Copy. So my adjustable tether is attached to 17.5, which is probably not ideal because I will need to spread it out, uncoil it. Yes, use a different one. That's correct. Okay, copy that. I have the cable retrieved from the bag. Got it, Oleg. Now you need to translate to plate 9. You should have enough cable length. Okay. No, this is actually a question. Oh, question. Okay. I don't see plate 9. Platform 9. I was not sure which way will be best to route the cable. Further away from me or closer to me? I understand. I would say along the circular handrail between me and the circular handrails, correct? Along the handrails, yes, correct. Okay, I think this is more convenient. I have taken off the bags, so one is attached to me using the adjustable tether. Let me see what I have here. Ready to mate? Yes, we copy that. When you're ready, you can proceed. Yes, I don't know if I should do another attachment point here or one is enough with this. Well, I think you should add RET if possible. If it is not possible, then whatever you have is sufficient. Yes. I have a free RET. Okay, in about 7 to 6 minutes, we are going into the night. Got it? Okay, on the cable, we have the lids attached, looking at the plates. On the plate, they are attached with the tether as well. Yay. This makes things much easier. Yes, so we were expecting the high-frequency ones to be attached. Looks good. Starting with connector 17.7, starting to mate that. Did you say 17.7? Yes, 17.7, no debris. Copy. Oleg, let's wait for Peter's report. Okay. In that case, I will get a better position for myself. Yes, make yourself comfortable near plate 9. Okay, I have installed the clamp. Okay, then go to 1722 and work. 17.2, we see the okay, I have opened. One part of the MLI labeled 1910. Yes, we copy that. Are you seeing the bracket? Yeah, I think it's here. Yes, under the small one to the side, closer to you. Yes, I see that. 4 connectors. Okay, Peter. Did you mate 1722? Yes, but I am looking at the MLI flap, and it's in the way. I seem to not be able to close it. Try to rotate it a little bit. Yes, I'll try to do that. Oleg. Okay, which ones should I take? Peter or me or what? The slack will come from Peter. Okay. After you connect to plate 9 and attach the coil, and then have them near handrail 2233, you will retrieve the cable clamps and pull the slack through that. Okay. I think I understood, not seeing where it can be. Okay. Anton, Artyom, can you tell me if you are receiving the video? So I see that it is signed. What number do we need? 911 is what we need. 9-11. The hook closed. We have 1 millimeter gap here. I think because of the tape that's attached to the lock, it's fairly thick. Okay, copy. Peter. It is too dark right now. We're going to be in total eclipse in about 1 minute. Peter, Oleg, don't hesitate to turn on Orlan lights when it's dark. We do have enough battery life. Okay. Right now we have good visibility. Maybe just for the camera? Yes, because from the camera we are seeing practically nothing. Okay, our connector HFP 9-11. Okay, so the markings on the cable, the cast, can you see that?
And so 2 hours, 55 minutes into today's spacewalk. Right now, both Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov working to connect the cables in bundle number 2. This one is focused on that connection between the core's automated rendezvous system between the MLM and the Russian service module. By tying these together, this is going to enable both to be used during any future visiting vehicle operations over on the Russian segment, both the Russian Soyuz and the Progress. They'll be able to use the core's automated system on board the service module up until they get to a point called station keeping. That's typically when the spacecraft is lined up just in front of its final docking port before it begins final approach, and then control would be handed over to the cores on the MLM, the Russian Multi-Purpose Laboratory Module. This is done the same already with other docking ports like the MRM-1 and previously at the docking compartment number 1 Pirs, which was detached and deorbited prior to MLM's arrival. So this will be an important connection to use for future vehicles as MLM becomes a docking port for additional Russian Progress and Soyuz spacecraft down the line.
And then connect the cable. If you can read what the cable says, that's great. If you cannot, that's okay as well. Okay. I can see all 4 connectors. I can see the signs on them. FP 999, then FP 9-10, then FP 9-11, and then 9-12. Okay. So 9-11, go ahead and disconnect that. Disconnecting, copy. Okay, this connector that you will be mating, you will be mating to connector 911 with the SM MLM2 with that bag. Okay, copy that, we'll do that.
Петр.
Peter.
Я подтверждаю стыковку разъемов 17.
I confirm connecting.
Хорошо, на разъемах.
Connector.
Принято.
Connector 17, MLM FP 17. It's all nice and tight. Okay, copy that now. Are you putting away the cable, routing the cable, or what? Well, I am preparing the cable clamp right now. Yes. By the way, didn't really work out that well. Here, it was installed very smooth, but then I think it coiled around the target. I can see that right now. We copy. That's okay. You'll have other opportunities. Okay. So right now, I cannot disconnect the HFP 9-11 because the string got caught in the spring-loaded ring. Can I take this off, or is it not okay, or is it okay? Okay, wait. If you're talking about the spring-loaded clamp, then yes, or yes. That's what I'm talking about. The clamp only for now. Okay, yes, you can do that. Copy. That should be sufficient. Thank you. I will remove the cap and put this here. Okay, copy.
Так, 912 установлен на место, фиксатор, разъем не
912 has been installed. The clamp is installed. The connector never got disconnected. Okay, we copy. I demated the connector HFP 9-11, trying to find the markings on the cable. If it did exist at some point, I cannot see it. The cables are very thin. I cannot see the decals, the labeling.
Moscow MKS.
Mission Control Moscow, this is ISS. Yes, go ahead.
Так, Артем, я отстыковал разъем.
Artyom, I disconnected the connectors. I don't see any labels on it. You mean on the cable? Correct. And don't see any markings on the cable. Okay, we copy that. This is an old connector. It needs to be connected to connector 9-11 for the SM bag. Okay, you mean the one I have right now? Yes, the bag that you have currently. There are two connectors, one 2-2, and then 9-11. Got it. Okay. KFP 2-2. 2-2 should be still on the cable coil. Yes, it is on the coil. And then the other one, the adjustable one.
And right now we're a little over 3 hours and 2 minutes into today's spacewalk. Novitsky and Dubrov still continuing to work with the SM-MLM2 cable bundle. It's the service module and the multi-purpose laboratory module number 2 bundle. They're working on getting this cable connected that's going to tie together the core's automated rendezvous and docking systems on both modules for the handoff that will occur during future visiting vehicle arrivals and departures to docking on the MLM, or the upcoming Russian node module that will be installed at the end of the MLM.
A number? There is a number, 10318. 1452, then there is 15 KS 31 8531A-40, correct.
Это он, да?
Is that the one? Yes, that's the one. Go ahead and make that. Okay, copy that, putting that in work connecting it to the one that I took off the plate. Yes, that's correct.
Так, состыковал, и стопорная пружинка удерживает разъем.
Okay, so I have it demated mostly, but there is a spring that's still holding it in place. Okay, we copy that. Oleg, we would recommend that you either take a break to rest now or tie this connector in place and tie the coil to the plate and cover all the connectors and tie the coil to handrail 2333. Now, what do you prefer? Do you want to take a break now or later? Honestly, I can't tell. Both options are fine, but I guess let me finish here. Okay, copy that. So let's connect this to the valve to the cover with the MLI flap. Okay, got it. It's just I'm not finding what to connect it with.
Hello? Hello? I'm going to hang up, Shay. Oh.
Artyom, I have clamp 2108. Maybe I could use that to somehow place it here under the MLI. Well, we will need the clamp for the cables to attach behind the target. Oh, you mean the wire tie? Yes, I'm sorry. I meant the wire tie. Okay. So that's just a plate. And that's all there is to it. Okay. Is there any room to reach any curve there? Wait. I'm sorry, what? There are Lirka clamp somewhere. Or maybe just put it under the MLI flap and it will hold it in place by itself. Okay, let me try. I have some available Lirka clamps. Okay, so it is nearby, close to the EVA tools. We got wire ties, so maybe we can wrap it up here. Okay, it's whatever you say. Okay, I can try to install it, cover it with MLI. If it doesn't work, then I'll have to think about what else I can do. Okay, understood. I think you won't be able to secure it there in a reliable way. At least what I've done is cover the Velcro flap Okay. Oleg. I think it's staying in place for now. We copy. At the end of the EVA. Okay, so on this reel, on this coil, I will need to start moving toward Pyotr and then attach the cable, right? Now, the coil that you have with connector 2-2, you need to attach it to handrail 2333. Okay.
And this is Mission Control Houston. Right now, we are 3 hours, 9 minutes, 23 seconds and counting into today's spacewalk. Our Russian cosmonauts doing the spacewalk today, Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov, continuing to work to mate and then secure this cable, tying together the core's automated rendezvous systems between the Russian service module and the Russian multi-purpose laboratory module. As they continue that work, we did want to give you one quick update on status that we had talked about at the beginning of today's broadcast. The crew on board the station was awoken last night by a smoke detector alarm that happened right before 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central. The alarm lasted for about a minute and then cleared, with the crew waking up and then immediately taking some atmospheric readings inside the cabin, inside the Russian service module. They had no indication of a source, but did report a burnt plastic or electronics type smell in the Zvezda service module, with some faint smell also reported all the way over in the U.S. Node 1 module, which is directly connected to the Russian segment. Again, no source was found or identified. The crew investigated and observed for just over an hour, and also activated an air filter, which helped the smell to subside, but not completely disappear. The crew did report that it was still there when they awoke this morning. But the crew went back to sleep after observing and activating that air filter, and the smell was not any impact to getting ready for today's spacewalk, which we are again a little over 3 hours into. So no changes to the plan for the rest of the crew either.
No, yet. No, not yet, Artem. This is a handrail along plane 3. Two handrails run in parallel to each other. If you're going to look in the direction of the assembly compartment, it's going to be on the right side. Yes, I haven't accessed the circular handrails, so it's difficult to find. I can't tell you if I have found it yet or not. So I'm going to try one approach. I'm going to secure myself to these rings. It's like, it probably sounds like I'm cutting the branch I'm sitting on, but it looks like that's what I'm going to have to do. There are tons of branches here. Okay. Okay, Peter, go ahead. Just be very careful. Yes, I have to be very slow and deliberate here. So you're holding on with the left, you're holding on with your left hand to the handrail in question. Am I? I am trying to move away from it. Well, this is not what you should be doing. This is the handrail 2333 long plane 3. Oh, you see, happiness is always somewhere close. If you have an opportunity, okay, the cable, either pull the cable into the cable clamp, or if the bundle is time you can take a break, then taking a break and not tucking things into the crew look bag. Well, you see, I wanted to take a break with the knowledge that everything is safely out of the way, because tucking it into the crew lock bag and putting it away is not that difficult a task.
Сколько проволочных фиксаторов у тебя на навесном оборудовании осталось?
How many wire ties do you have on your attached equipment, on your workstations? Three on the swing arm, and one more I removed from the cable that I was routing. That makes it 4, and 2 on crew lock bag, and 4 more inside the crew lock bag.
Значит, на 9-ю плату можем найти.
So you will have enough for panel number 9. No problem.
Хорошо, Петр, отдыхай. Через 1,5 минуты у нас...
So right now,
свет должен начаться.
In about a minute, Peter, we're going to have the sun rays. And Oleg, when you're ready, please translate along the circular handrails and secure the cable into the cable clamps. Copy. So the last workstation where I routed the cable into the cable clamp and where I tied up the cable bundle has got fed to 2. It's about 1.5 meters. The cable is routed nicely, and there is a wire tie. I can route the cable there as well. Okay, copy. Thank you. Let's wait for the sunrise, and you're going to take a video of how the cable is routed. Okay, I'm just going to wait for the sunrise. It's about to start, so let's wait for the sunrise. No inaudible interference.
Мне похоже, не светит светодиод на атмосферной камере. Похоже, где-то светил на этом.
The LED on the camera is not on. So the helmet camera is not on. Peter, the comm is really bad. Could you repeat your last? My helmet camera LED is not on.
Свет не мигает на камере, но мы получаем...
So LED is not blinking. Well, but we're receiving the video. The high definition is working. The low definition is not. We're receiving the video anyway, and it's sufficient. And thank you for the information. Okay, copy.
Ну как там, светотеневая обстановка позволяет?
Are the lighting conditions good enough? I didn't copy your last. To do what?
Сфотографировать.
To take photographs of how you tied up the cable. Oh, I see. I got it. I don't know whether I should be taking photographs with GoPro. I will try. Take a photograph of the connection on panel 9 and this particular bundle.
Хорошо, ладно, давай тогда это в конце.
Okay, let's do it at the very end.
Тогда иди к Петру и убираем кабельные держатели.
And then You can, I didn't copy your last. So I am supposed to go to Peter, and then I'm going to need to tie up the cable. You're going to route the cable clamps, and there will be wires behind the target. Okay, copy. Inaudible.
В следующем витке у нас, возможно, будет еще больше помех.
Next, during the next orbit, we might have even more interference.
And this is Mission Control Houston, so we do have confirmation that they have finished mating that cable bundle number 2 to both the Russian service module and the multi-purpose laboratory module. So again, that tying together the two cores, feeder antennas in both the service module and the MLM, and that'll come into play for future visiting vehicle operations involving the MLM, the multi-purpose laboratory module. And with that, complete the two spacewalkers, Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov, as of right now, are still about 30 minutes behind on their timeline, but they're continuing now. Next, they're getting the all of the slack restrained from the cable that they just finished mating, and then moving on to the SM-MLM-1 bundle. It's the service module, multi-purpose laboratory module number 1 cable bundle. And they're going to be connecting this to tie together the TV systems between the two modules, the service module and MLM. And also installing one final Ethernet patch cable, at what point they'll be able to do a connectivity test. And again, that's just part of the overall connections being made today, tying together the U.S. segment and the newly arrived MLM, providing a redundant data path for any future payloads, and also control of the European robotic arm on the outside of MLM.
Are you able to copy? Inaudible? Yes, I can barely hear you. Peter? What did you say? I'm not able to copy what he's saying.
Трудно иногда молчать. О, ты говорил,
Were you the one speaking? Yes. Well, right now, go ahead and speak now. Oh, Peter. I think the interferences are over. I think right now we are able to somewhat understand you. During the next orbit, possibly we're going to have even more interference, a higher level of interference.
Почему-то это не удивляет.
For some reason, it's not surprising.
Мне уже понравилось.
Да.
I don't know.
Ну, это есть стимул ускориться, да.
Well, that's the
Олег, я вижу.
that's motivation for you to speed up your activities.
Принято, Петр, приступай тогда.
Okay, you can go ahead, Peter, and mate the connectors in the bundle SMMLM1. Okay, copy.
Приступай сразу.
You can start with connector 17.3.
Я вот предложил 17.6.
I would recommend us starting with 17.6 because it's the farthest out and most difficult. 17.3 is the Ethernet connector we're going to test. Okay, got it. We're going to start with 17.3.
Спасибо.
If your activity is tied to that particular connector, then no questions asked.
Так, есть разъем ХФП 17.3 кабель.
You have the 17.3 cable connector. Looks, pins are good, no FOD. Copy.
Ладно. Так, Артем, это...
Artem, I got to the target. Okay, copy.
Держателя, да?
На кольцевых поручнях 2.
On the circular handrail, there are two cable holders shaped as handcuffs.
Принято.
Copy.
И здесь сейчас, наверное, придется...
Here, you would probably need to...
Да, за мишенью уже надо будет вязать проволокой.
You will need to... I will need to use the wire to tie it down. Yes, I think you will, past the target, you will need to tie it with wires because there are no cable clamps there anymore. Yes, there are none here.
Стыковал. Замок закрыт.
So I mated it, and the latch is closed. Is it 17.3? 17.3 is mated. I confirm.
Принято, спасибо.
Copy, thank you.
А дальше очередность.
Peter, and the order in which you're going to make 17.5 or 17.6 is up to you. Well, if we started from this side, then that's how we're going to move. Copy.
Three hours, 35 minutes, 10 seconds and counting into today's spacewalk, the 50th Russian EVA, or spacewalk in support of the International Space Station. Right now, both of our spacewalkers, Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov, have met up, and they're down at a connection panel on the MLM, the Multi-Purpose Laboratory Module. There's 3 cables that they're working to install now, 2 linking TV systems between the MLM and the Russian service module, and 1 an Ethernet patch cable to finish that Ethernet routing connecting MLM to the US OS, the US segment. You're going to hear them refer to these cables by their connector numbers, 17.3, 17.5, and 17.6. And one of the cables, the 17.3, will be secured in place using a clip known as an ERCA. Once they're finished connecting the cables here at the MLM, the pair will make their way back up to the top side of the space station and then over to the Russian service module, where they're going to connect the other ends of these cables to get everything in place. So again, right now working to install cables tying together TV systems on the Russian service module and the MLM, and also that Ethernet patch cable. They just wrapped up a few minutes ago, connecting a cable that's tying together the Corps' automated rendezvous systems that'll be used in future visiting vehicle operations with MLM. And then earlier today, finished some of the major routing of an Ethernet cable, which this patch cable will complete, but tying, again, the U.S. segment over to MLM. Pyotr Dubrov also, right off the bat in this spacewalk, was able to install 3 gap spanners, just long handrails, on the outside of the multi-purpose laboratory module, with one additional one potentially being installed a little bit later in the spacewalk. Once they finish routing these 3 cables, they have a couple of more tasks that they can try and tackle during this spacewalk. One will be installing a platform with adapters on a passive base point that can just be used for future payloads to fly outside the Russian segment. Also looking at installing a platform with 3 biorisk containers outside of the Poisk module. Biorisk is a long-running study conducted by Roscosmos, looking at just assessing the risk of biological damage to space equipment and hardware. They're exposing different samples, different pieces of technology, different materials to both the vacuum of space and just microgravity conditions inside of the space station. Just looking at the viability of different microscopic organisms when they're exposed to the space environment. Part of this, looking at what any potential risk could be of transferring contamination or organisms from Earth to exterior surfaces on a spacecraft, or eventually onto any interplanetary surfaces. So that's still on the agenda for today's spacewalk if they're able to get through it. Again, we're about 3 hours, 38 minutes into today's spacewalk, planned to last just shy of 6.5 hours.
So after you arrange all the connectors, you will have to take pictures of the plate and then how you have arranged the whole route of, like, the routing of the cables. Artyom, I am done with the cables 17, 2, 3, 2 and 3. Copy, Oleg. Move over to Pyotr. And you can start working with 17, with cable clamp 40.3, or you can take SMMLM1 cable bundle from Pyotr and start working with that. Okay. Maybe that would be a better option. But first of all, you will need to use the wire tie, just very similar to the Ethernet cable, because while you are going to be putting those cables down, you will be tearing them out of the lirkas. So first, I need to make sure I am really, really secure somewhere around Pyotr, and that's when I can start working. Yes, I think that's the most reasonable way. And also leave some slack for Pyotr so he can work with those connectors. Pyotr, how much slack do you need? Well, how much can you give me? I'd say I am done with 2 out of 3 connectors, and they're not too far from the Lirka. So you can actually pull the cable. So I need to follow the Ethernet cable's route. That's right. So I will take that cable, that's wire tie. And meanwhile, I will try to get a little bit closer to you. Okay. Piotr, what if you use what if you secure everything and well, I am trying to use 4225 and I'm trying to take a wire tie and use it for that exact idea, right? And I will try and get a little bit close and help you out there. Right, this is a pretty challenging spot to clean up everything here. So 1731. That's where we can stow Lirka. Okay, so I think phew. Piotr, take a break. Got it.
Ну что, получается-то? Получается.
How goes it? Not too bad. But the cable, okay, cable clamp, the wire tie, Unintelligible. And the reel is not spinning right. It's a little bit too short. Would you like me to attach it to the adjustable so that you could have a little bit more slack and you could work a little bit better with it? Well, it is already on an adjustable tether, and you can use the cable bundle from here, and it's better to use my side. Let me use the wire tie. Okay. Let me see how it goes. To there, to here. And this connector.
And this is Mission Control Houston, 3 hours, 48 minutes, 22 seconds into today's spacewalk. The cable routing tasks are continuing for Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov. They just finished connecting 3 different cables to a patch panel, a connection point on the Russian multi-purpose laboratory module. Right now, they're working to route those cables now up to the Russian service module, where they're going to secure them in place on some handrails, and then begin to install them and connect them to a patch panel up on the SM, the service module. So they're going to just continue along. We can see them installing cable clamps along the way to help hold these cables in place, making sure they have enough slack for the trip up before they make these final connections. And again, these are just connecting together the TV systems. 2 of these are for connecting TV systems between the service module and the multi-purpose laboratory module, and the other one an Ethernet patch cable just to complete all of this routing, connecting Ethernet and data between the U.S. segment on the station and the newly arrived multi-purpose laboratory module. And this Ethernet will provide a redundant data stream for any payloads hosted on the MLM in the future, and also giving a redundant path for commanding and controlling the European robotic arm outside of MLM. So everything continuing. They've caught up a little bit more on their timeline, getting these cables connected pretty quickly. We were expecting them to be a little bit past the 4-hour mark before they're able to finish all the connections up on the service module. We are just 3 hours and 50 minutes into today's spacewalk. Again, everything today planned to last about 6.5 hours. Once they finish this cable routing, they'll move to installing a payload platform with adapters outside of the Poise module, removing a protective cover, and then also installing canisters from the long-running BioRisk experiment on board the station. Once they're done with that, assuming they get through everything, the installation will have some protective covers, some multi-layer insulation covers that are removed. Those are planned to be jettisoned, and along with those, they'll be jettisoning the cover from the Ethernet cable reel, which, if you've been following along, caused a little bit of issues early on in the spacewalk, where they were unable to get the reel from its temporary stowage point on a handrail. To get around that, they were able to take the cover off the cable reel and bring it with them, and it's been temporarily stowed outside the Poise module ever since they finished routing that cable. And it is destined to be jettisoned along with that multi-layer insulation at the end of today's spacewalk. So before they move their way inside the hatch, we should see one of these spacewalkers jettisoned. So just slowly release those covers essentially off the side of the space station. All of these calculated in advance and coordinated with our trajectory officer here in Mission Control Houston, just to make sure we understand the flight profile essentially of this of these items that get jettisoned, ensuring they're not going to pose any risk to the space station afterwards, and then they'll be on a trajectory to burn up shortly following their jettison. So we should see that towards the end of today's spacewalk. Right now, 3 hours, 52 minutes into a planned 6.5-hour EVA. Oleg Novitsky, Pyotr Dubrov continuing to move these cables up towards the Russian service module. And once they get there, we'll see them start to make these additional connections, and then that should finish all of our cable routing for today.
But for that, we'll have to cut off a few more ropes or tear them off and leave them in the Lirkas and leave enough slack. All right, so, that sounds like a plan. Tear them off and leave them in the Lirkas. Using wire cutters is a little bit dangerous there, just because you already have the cables all laid out. And before that, I highly recommend you take a break. Sounds good. Sure hope so. And we have not done the Ethernet test yet. So there is a chance that you will have to disconnect all the connectors and redo it one more time. 18.4 or 17.3? 17.3. All right, 17.3. Artyom, are you receiving any video from the cameras? Yes. What do you think about this connection right next to the Ethernet cable? Yes. This looks good. There are no limitations. And continue next to plate 8. Right, and really in the bay, talking over each other. Yes, that's where you need to connect it. Let me use the wire tie, the one that is port 026. And then it's going to be loosely connected to port-25. Yes, this all sounds like a good plan, but you need to take a break, Pyotr. I do have enough juice left for that one for this one cable. Okay, Pyotr. Okay, I am done. This is the cable secure. It's secure. Copy. And there is very little slack left. And it looks pretty good now. I'm hitting something with the back of my head all the time. It's probably the SM module right behind me.
Олег.
Oleg, go ahead.
Когда дойдешь до 8-й платы,
When you are on
работать сначала
platform 8,
разъемами 8.5.
let's start with connectors 8.5 and 8.6. 8.14 should not be mated without our go. I copy. I would not do anything without your go. That's good to know. And thank you.
Петр, я так понимаю, ты отснимал все разъемы?
Piotr, as far as I understand, you took pictures of all the connectors on platform 18, and you are ready to close them with the MLI. Yes. And I took pictures of how I laid the cables, so it's very clear. This part is very clear in the pictures while I was taking a break. Copy. Thank you. So once I am done with the Lirka, I will take pictures of the final configuration. Okay, sounds good. There will be a short LOS, and we are not receiving any video either.
Yes.
Copy. Copy. Artyom.
And this is Mission Control Houston, just a few seconds away from 4 hours elapsed time into today's spacewalk. Be getting that video connection back with the station momentarily. We are on a short handover, so just that period of time while we're waiting for our antennas on the station to reacquire signal with the tracking and data relay satellites. The crew right now, though, just finishing up the final installation of cables that should take place during the spacewalk today. They're over having moved up from the multi-purpose laboratory module to the Russian service module, where they're connecting 3 cables, one an Ethernet patch cable, just completing that data connection between the U.S. segment and the Russian multi-purpose laboratory module, the MLM, and then 2 high-frequency cables connecting TV systems between MLM and the Russian service module. You could hear them talking about taking photos. They take photos of all of the mated connectors prior to closing up the insulation flaps that protect them, just for additional review by teams down on the ground. Also able to do some connectivity tests, hopefully coming up soon, just to check out all of those connections. Once the cable routing is done, they'll move back to the Poise Catch and take some additional hardware out that's going to be installed outside the station. One's a platform that has adapters on it for additional payloads. Another one, 3 canisters for the long-running biorisk experiment project on board the station.
Great. LOS is over. Copy. We are receiving the video image as well. Copy. Do you see clearly how we arranged all the connectors?
Ну, частично видно.
Well, partly visible. Because I'm saying that 1714, if you want us to move it a little bit lower, then we have to cut the riggers and pull out the cables.
Ну да, если вот...
Right. If we choose this route. Otherwise, I don't think they're going to fit under the MLI cover. That's an option. So one tie got loose from the Lirka and the cable is free now. No, but still too short. You mean the length of the cable is not enough for a bend like this? Right. I will have to start bending the cable right where it's coming out of the connector. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Or cut off the Lyricas and pull it through here. Well, maybe I wouldn't have to use such drastic, sharp measures. Unintelligible. It's really hard to pull them out, and they're not coming out that easy. Pyotr, you are ahead of the timeline, actually. In 30 seconds.
Вот, то есть решение по МЛМу, как я говорил,
we
платформы с адаптером
decided not to do the adapter plates for MLM. We don't have anything to do, and please do not rush. We still have to work with MRM2, and just take your time. The Ethernet cable test for cable 1 has been successful, and the connectors have been connected well. We are going to connect all the connectors afterwards, and we'll be standing by for further steps. All right, I got to FEPA 8. As far as I understand, it's not very big. It's big, with 4 valves on it. And that is correct. And you need valve 2 and 4. All right, and the second one, so Artyom, there is a HFP 8 and a HFP 8-9, so 8-9. Okay, we were actually mistaken, and we need HFP 1. HFP 8, 2, 3, 8, 4, 5 and 6 should be there. Right. They were under the second one. So I got half a pair 5 and half a pair 6. These connectors are unoccupied. Copy. You can connect to the following. I can connect the connectors to them, to the cables to them, right? Yes, correct. And these are high frequency connectors.
And we are just over 4 hours, 8 minutes into today's spacewalk. Again, originally timeline to last about 6.5 hours. Both Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov at the work site on the Russian service module to get these additional cables and final Ethernet patch in place, after which we'll do another connectivity test.
So we have managed to reduce the bend angle of the...
And so once the spacewalkers are able to be sent down to the ground for additional review, and then they'll be replacing the MLI, the multi-layer insulation, those white flaps that you can see them manipulating that just provide some protection to all of the underlying electrical components from the spaceflight environment.
I think that's how it goes.
Their current status, and then make their way back over to the Poisk module, their airlock for today's operations. The next tasks on the list for them would involve taking out some larger hardware, one a platform that can host future payloads, and another one a payload itself, both destined for areas just outside the Poisk module. And then, assuming they're able to get those in place, there are some protective covers over the, assuming they get those off, those covers, along with the cover from the cable reel for the Ethernet cable that's already been routed and connected, that was originally protected back inside of Poisk.
To plate 8, okay. So when you were taking pictures, Oleg, what about LED? Was it blinking? Something was blinking. Yeah, copy. Piotr, thank you for your report. Now that about the cap keeper, so please start connecting connectors 8.5 and 8.6. Yes, I will start connecting presently.
Практики мало, но да, у нас на прошлом выходе не получилось много времени потратить.
Last time during the EVA, or you didn't have time to spend on that.
Олег, если есть желание и возможность,
if you are willing and have a chance, could you please take pictures from this angle, how the cables from FGB towards the plate 18 are routed? I think it's a good opportunity here to take those pictures. Yes, I agree. I think we'll be able to take everything into the frame, so to say, to take picture of everything. Yes, Oleg, could you please take pictures? So, Piotr, have you stowed away the caps in the cap keeper?
Yes.
Ура. Ну, теперь
Hooray. Success.
есть желание отдышаться?
Well done. So, do you want to take a break before you start connecting the connectors, Piotr?